Deepwater J, were you with TNA during the angle that went nowhere between Jeff Jarrett and Hulk Hogan around late 2003? Jarrett smashed a guitar over Hogan's head during a Japanese press conference at the Tokyo Dome, which should have led to Hogan versus Jarrett at a future pay-per-view or big event. Then Hogan pulled out of the match citing a knee injury and didn't come back till 2010. What happened?
Well, I don't know really what happened, but I think money was an issue. I think Hogan asked for some astronomical sum of money. And I think that TNA wanted him badly just to say they've had him, but they didn't feel like parting with that much money. And I got to agree with them. Uh, I think it was that. And it went on and on and on. And then finally, so much time went on that the angle was dead. It happened so long ago that they'd have to replay it back. And people said, "Oh, I've already seen this. What took him 2 years?" If he's so mad, what's he madder now, 2 years later, than he was then? But I think, like everything else in life, and especially in wrestling, money was an issue. He asked for too much because I do think some people overvalue their own worth, which I don't mind. If you don't think you're worth nothing, nobody else is going to think you're worth nothing. But I think he was just an astronomical sum that even TNA says, no, we can't part with that much money because the returns wouldn't justify the expense up front.
Now, as a booker, Dutch, a seasoned and respected booker, I'll say this, and I'm sure you'll agree with it, is why book the starting angle if there was no contract and there was nowhere to go with it? Why book the first bit?
No, they did that. I think he agreed to do it. That's what I think. After it was done, then he pulled the power play. I think Hulk did. He said, "Well, yeah, we'll do it, but I got to have this now." That's what I think he did because he was going to pull the power play against them. They didn't know it. They thought they had a deal. Nothing was signed, which taught TNA a lesson. Get the signature down before you do anything, then we'll go with it. But I think Hulk played him like a violin and ended up, he wanted more money. He didn't get more money. But I think at the end in 2010, when he did come in at a much lesser price, but they wanted him to do more too. So
I believe this off the top of my head. I believe he came down with a magical foot injury, and then he couldn't. All of a sudden, and then maybe some money would have made that foot injury get better.
Well, I heard that too. But
do you remember any plans for Hulk if he'd come in?
Well, I think him and Jeff were going to work this big long thing, which would have paved the way for a few more to join in. And I think, I don't know if I think Kevin Nash had already been there. Scott Hall had already been there. So I think Hogan, he brought Bischoff with him, I think. And they kind of took over the company. All the creative that was with Jeff before, we got 86th off the edge of the boat. And I think Vince was the only one that stayed. I think Jeff went first. Then I got axed. Cornette got axed. And anybody that had connections to Jeff or his regime, they got him out of there. And then they kept Russo. And Russo was playing the political game too with Dixie, which is what you got to do. I don't blame him for doing that. But he stayed, but I always thought that Hogan and Vince hated each other until some money was involved. Then they all of a sudden magically got along.
I think even Savio was binned off. Just everyone in the office seemed to go.
Yeah, and I was wondering about Savio in, and Jeff knew him, and he's very good at what he does. We wanted him to be an agent, and Savio, they let him go too. So